Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lock Shop, coming at you live from South Fort Chevrolet, where I am taking aim on winners this week in the National Football League. That's what we're going to get to as we work our way through. What a great day over here. I've been shooting bullets at a Teef who's not a Nasty Club member, but one most committed Nasty of the year. Never seen anything like that. Unbelievable. It's going to be a good day. And we're going four-man box here on the Lock Shop today to set up we'll break down the Thursday nighter. Then we'll get to week 5 in the National Football League. I think a little bit of an easier board to break down than maybe through the first 4 weeks. Maybe it's just because we're getting a better read on things. The Lock Shop, as always, presented to you by our great partners over at Coolbet. If you've not yet signed up for an account, you better do it, sucker. I had too much fun with this gun today. I'm not going to lie. And you know what's funny is I have 4 of them. I could have one for everybody on the crew here. That'd be a good time. But yeah, if you've not yet signed up for an account, please do use the code LOCKSHOP when you do, and you get a 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit up to $200. So you deposit 100, you'll get a bonus 100 from our partners over at Coolbet. Trev, you can bring the guys in whenever they're all good to go.
2 seconds here.
Thursday nighter. The wheel was just last night. The Drake London touchdown, a no sweat wheel spin for the Drake London touchdown at plus 150. I know P Greggy was texting us. He was on Drake London first touchdown score of the game as well, which was, that cash, that was a pretty penny. It was just a really good football game last night as far as entertainment goes, and a big win. And the man who's the hottest man in the country right now remains red hot, and he's there. And you guys don't have your Nerf guns. I thought we were doing a Nerf gun thing today. What is this?
Missed the memo.
Hey, watch it with that gun. You'll be like the Orioles. You come with the crown, you best not miss.
That's a good point. That's a good. Yeah. So there's the guy at South Fort Chev, the manager here. He has a wall of just Nerf guns, and on the show today, I gotta go back and watch the Nielsen show. He pulled out like a Gatling gun, like it was like. And I set Tommy up about 20 feet away, and I just peppered him. And it was a lot of fun, boys. So I don't know. There's something about this. Must be what it's like in the United States. There's something about doing a radio show with a gun. It's pretty cool. So, although I did have one guy today, one guy texted in and was just like, I had to turn off the show for my kids. I can't see them, somebody waving a gun around. And I was like, it's a Nerf gun. Like, what are we talking about here? So there's always one, there's always one. But,
oh boy.
We got lots to get to, boys. Huss, the hottest man in all the land. Pulled it off
Never
again
a doubt
yesterday.
last night. Never a doubt. Come on, Atlanta.
Never in doubt, please.
Not even a sweat there. Hey, listen, when things are going your way, sometimes you get the nice bounce. Kirk Cousins, primetime Kirk, as he's known, both in the group chat and around the world now. That was incredible. 509 yards. I didn't realize that they had put Matt Ryan into the Ring of Honor at halftime in that game. And Kirk ended up breaking his all-time single game passing record with the run in overtime. It was wild. I certainly did think that game was going to be close. I have a feeling that whether we're talking Tampa, New Orleans, Atlanta, New Orleans, Tampa, Atlanta, those 3 teams are going to be playing nail biters all year long. And like I said before, and kind of did it on the daily pick, to me, whether we were talking 2, whether we were talking 2.5, that was more a pick on like a money line game. And that was sort of why it was interesting when I did the play of the day. It wasn't hardly a difference between the money line and getting a point with Atlanta. And again, there will be a game or two that finished like with 1 point and difference between these two. So it basically came down to who executed and who got a break. And Bucky Irving fumble was big. The fact that Atlanta got the ball back, albeit they didn't do anything with it at that point, but still had their 3 timeouts to get the ball back, was huge. And hey, listen, I will accept a gift when I get one. The missed face mask penalty was absolutely huge, because that game's probably over if they actually call that. But And then, I mean, Tampa to take that holding penalty and to bring it back out of field goal range to make them have to punt.
Yeah.
I mean, everything came together. But once that happened, and once the punter came out on the field, I had a pretty good feeling that Cousins would be able to get the yardage to at least give Koo the opportunity to make that happen. And Patty, I mean, we were a little spooked early on when Koo missed the first field goal.
Oh, yeah.
Go offside, inexplicable, and he misses again. But when we get 7 field goals in that game last night, we may need to start getting adjusted field goal props.
I had a charity sort of dinner thing I had last night. So I was following along. I got the London texts, and then I had put my phone away, and we had a big dinner. And then I wrap up after the game, and I turned my phone. I missed like 28 texts from you guys. I was like, oh boy, what happened in this football game? But the last text I saw before I put my phone away for dinner was one from Pat that said, "Koo ... What the." And I was just like, oh, something's happening with field goals right now. But Patty, in the end, it was a guy taken care of, no problem.
The way it started definitely didn't give me a lot of trust when Koo, who you could argue has been one of the hottest kickers in the NFL in probably the hottest season of kickers. Like, this is a kickers league. It's not a quarterbacks league anymore. Yeah. This is all about the kickers. Not only does he miss one that he never misses, there's a flag on the play, and then he goes up again and misses it again, arguably even worse than the first miss. So he ended up redeeming himself. McLaughlin looked really good as well. Primetime field goal bet now up to 9-7. It's now 3-2 on Thursday nights. I think the Buffalo Bills are also skewing this number because they've played in primetime quite a bit. And Tyler Bass and this Buffalo Bills team is the furthest thing from a field goal team. So I'm going to have to do an adjusted Bills primetime field goal bet statistic here because it could be going even better if it wasn't for that team. But all in all, that's got to be one of the games of the year. It had everything. And Huss quickly, I know we don't want to spend too much time on this game, but it was such a good game. I think we have to. You talk about like the missed opportunities by the Bucks down the stretch. You could say the same with the Falcons. Like the Mooney missed deep shot. Like he was wide open, drops that ball. We talked about Koo, countless dumb penalties as well. Some weird coaching decisions. So both teams kind of had their opportunities to put the game away, and they didn't. And I mean, that's what this division's all about, right? These tight games. Everyone always talks about, how the AFC North, every time those opponents play each other, it's a tight game. The same goes for this. And we're in for a treat. In a couple of weeks, we get this rematch right away. It's in Tampa on the 27th. So I'm excited for that. The look on Baker Mayfield's face after they lost the game, like he is pissed. And I thought the second half offensive play calling kind of went a little squirrely for the Buccaneers. Like in the first, they couldn't be stopped. Some of those throws Baker Mayfield made was impressive. I'm looking forward to the rematch, man. I don't know when the last time I said I can't wait to see the Bucs and the Falcons play again, but here we are, and I can't wait.
That's a really good point. We're like, oh my God, rematch game, Baker Mayfield revenge game. If you are watching on YouTube, hammer a thumbs up for us. Chime in on the chat. If you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, you can text us. We'll get a few of those text messages. I do like this one from Lars in the Nasty Chat. Says, guys, it looks like a murderer's row here. It looks like a lineup at your local RCMP station with the four of us. And I'll just say this. If somebody was looking at us as a lineup and they're like, who did it? I guarantee they'd point to Jake and that mustache and just be like, that guy did it. He's the guilty one.
Yeah, that's public enemy number one here. I mean, every week I get on here, I give out my favorite TD bet, and then Dusty goes, that's the worst pick I've ever heard. And then he moves it to the bottom of his list. So I'm really excited. Today to give my my new week 5 TD.
I can't wait to do power rankings with all four of us actually here. Right?
Yes.
Usually one of us isn't here, so it's like, okay, we'll do this. So anything else from the game last night, guys?
Well, I have one thing from last night, and it's not necessarily from the NFL game, but
I know what you're going to say.
Oh, yeah, we know where you're going.
The Mets. The Mets.
That was nuts.
The Pete Alonso, the polar bear. I will admit, I had lost faith. I was basically waiting for something good to happen, and I had flicked it back over to the football game. I was paying attention, And all of a sudden, the phone just goes, I didn't even look at it. I looked it over, and he is running the bases. I still can't believe it. And, we had talked about it, that this was a Mets team. Like, how they got in was very un-Mets-like. How they won that first game was un-Mets-like. And, Jake, I credit you for saying we're this far in. I think we need to ride with this team tonight. We did, and they got it done. The Mets-Phillies series is going to be awful.
Oh, man.
But my God, you want drama. Pete Alonso's been a Met for a long time. He's in a contract here. Someone said that could legitimately be like $100 million home run. And the biggest one of his entire career. And for a team that was absolutely out of it midway through the season to be where they are right now, there's a lot of compelling teams that are still around. You've got the Tigers and Royals from the AL Central and the Royals lost 106 last year. The Mets were one of the worst teams and the biggest bust teams in Major League Baseball history last year. And they're all hanging around with a lot of momentum going into these next series against teams that have been sitting around, albeit with rested pitching staff. So I can't wait for tomorrow when things get going in the majors. Now that we've got it all set up. 4 games tomorrow. Guardians, Tigers, Phillies, Mets, Yankees, Royals, and then Padres, Dodgers. Yankees are the biggest favorite on the board. Royals are the biggest underdog. And then the closest game in odds is the Dodgers and our Padres, Dusty.
The Padres, our boys.
Dodgers minus 135 and Padres 115. So all the series prices are out there. You're going to want to get on those if you've got a series bet to make it before first pitch goes. And then, it starts at noon and goes all the way, or noon for us here, so 11 out west, 1 o'clock in Toronto. And the late game is going to start 7:30 our time. So full day of baseball. We got a full day of college football. I'm sure you guys will have something on that in the exclusives as well. And guys, we've got a hockey game on. The NHL season is officially underway.
Yeah, it's underway.
We are 1 minute into the international series. Markstrom making his debut for the Devils in net.
Quickly on the Devils. I was looking this morning, we were going over Oilers futures and awards and stuff. And the New Jersey Devils have the 3rd best odds to win the Stanley Cup right now, which kind of caught me off guard a little bit.
Raise the banner, off-season champions.
That must have moved recently, right, boys? I remember looking at it earlier. I did not see New Jersey. It was Edmonton at plus 650. It was Florida at 9-1, and I'm pretty sure this morning when I looked, it was New Jersey at like 10 or 11-1, which kind of caught me off guard. I don't know if I missed that during the offseason that they moved up the list, but that was kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, I don't know if Jake has seen the numbers. I don't have them in front of me, but I don't know if there's a lot of public heat that's coming on them and allowed them to drop, or what Huss said. There's a lot of steam behind them. There's a lot of people that believe that this team with getting Markstrom
was the final
another
piece,
year older,
right?
Maybe that's the final piece. Sheldon Keefe is still their head coach. He's I don't know if I'll be able to ever watch another hockey game if they win a cup. Literally the season after the Leafs fire him and he goes to New Jersey and they win a cup, I don't know if I will be able to watch hockey anymore. On paper they are a good team. They've got a pretty young core, but they've got some veteran. It makes sense. But you're right. It did kind of just creep up out of nowhere. I
had not read it yet, so I'm reading it live, and I'm like, Edmonton Oilers, Florida Panthers, New Jersey Devils. Where did this come from? So it kind of caught me off guard a little bit earlier this morning. So
I'm just looking at it here.
Yeah.
It looks like around middle of September they moved from plus 1250 down to 10-1. So maybe that was the jump that took him to that 3rd spot.
Okay, that must have been it. Anyway,
well, Dusty, you had Wyshynski on your show earlier this week. I had him on mine, and I pressed him on who he thinks is going to win the 2 conferences, and he actually had Dallas and Jersey playing in the finals.
Did he say Jersey? Okay,
he's a big Jersey guy. That was always his team.
Yeah.
And then he got into what they did in the offseason, and obviously you got to have a guy like Jack Hughes healthy, but. They certainly should be a playoff team. They shouldn't fade
they'll
the
be a
way they did
playoff
last
team for
season.
sure. Yeah, but the second best odds to win the cup behind Florida in the East.
I don't know about it.
The Dallas pick was like Wyshynski's took the Oilers the last 2 years, and he was on our show. I said, "You're not going Oilers 3 years in a row." He goes, "No, we're going to move off the jinx." So he went Dallas to win the cup this year. So we'll see on that front. By the way, before we get into our NFL best bets, Big Maple came by. Big Maple, big UFC bettor. He came by. He had to pick up his. He works just north, I think, of South Fort Chevrolet, where we are today. And he had to pick up he won Text of the Year. So he came to pick up his Esty today. And he handed me his best bet for UFC action this weekend. He printed it off
bet slip
and handed it to me. The official Big Maple free UFC bet.
What is it? I'll bet it right now.
Jose Aldo and Mario Bautista. Fight result, draw, no bet, plus 120, Jose Aldo.
Draw, no bet.
Jose Aldo, plus 120.
Boom.
Is this the same Jose Aldo that was fighting like 10, 12 years ago? Is this the same guy? I remember Jose Aldo back in the day, unless it's it's a different guy. Anyway, Big Maple.
Go Maple. That's, by the way, that is the most, for those of you that don't even watch UFC or pay attention to it, this is the most no-brainer wager of the week at Coolbet. You click on that little green box, you bet $25, and win or lose, you get a free $25 bet on Monday. So let's go Aldo. If not, don't worry about it. We'll put it on the Monday nighter and win it back on 4 field goals.
All right, beautiful. All right, so there's 4 of us today for the best bets.
Well, just one quick thing on that
ahead,
note.
buddy.
Just looking at Coolbet right now, plus 120 on Aldo. Looking at other sports books right now too, down to even money, plus 110. So I think 120 is right now, from what I can see, is the best number that you can get on Aldo. So
beauty.
Make sure you lay it down at Coolbet.
That's also a nice little bonus there then. Yeah, no, that's perfect. As we get to our best bets here, I think we just kind of go left to right on the screen. Best bet one at a time, and I'm sure we'll have some overlap. So feel free, like we did last week, to sort of chime in if you're also on the same game. But we have to lay out the red carpet for the red hot Hustler-Rama as he continues to look to remain the scorching fire sent from the sun, this guy. Huss, where are you starting this week, buddy? What's best bet number one?
Well, you know what? I will just quickly mention. So now whenever I get on one of these runs, I kind of think about the games even more for the upcoming week, and I'm trying to get the picks in a little early. I did all of my picks and bet them last night. And I don't know whether I'm moving the lines, but glad that I did, because a couple of the games that I was on have had pretty significant, significant moves, like on a key number. Well, we'll start it off with the England game. I mean, I've been riding the Vikings all year long. They have been maybe the best story of the season so far. Sammy Darts is absolutely rolling, but this defense that Brian Flores is taken over has been incredible. And Aaron Rodgers, off of that performance, now I know it was raining or whatever, and listen, credit where credit's due. I hate the Broncos, and I think they stink. Their defense could be a top 5 unit in the league. Like when I was thinking about the Broncos last night, watching that Atlanta-Tampa game, I'm like, Tampa has been tearing up other teams, and they didn't do a lot against Denver and lost. So I do give the Denver defense some credit. We'll talk about them a little later on. But Aaron Rodgers is not going to have a ton of time, and he is not particularly mobile. I mean, I think that this matchup, as much as a lot of people are waiting for the balloon to burst for Minnesota, I think this plays right into the Vikings' hands. Now, you know, the Jet defense is going to be better, need to be better than it's been so far. But man, I mean, Minnesota, with the way that KOC's creating this offense, how Darnold's executing, the receivers they have now that Jordan Addison's back, he looked great last week, and obviously Aaron Jones. I really like Minnesota in this game, and I think until further notice, unless the line is just completely ridiculous, I'm going to continue to bet the Vikings. So I'm in on the Vikings at -2.5. Just making sure that it is still, in fact, minus 2.5.
It is. Yep.
It is. Yep. All right. Okay. So there we go. Next up.
Well, let's go one across the board. Let's do like one.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Let's do
Vikings is my first pick.
Yeah, Vikings. I love it too. But let's go, Patty. Who are you on here?
That was my favorite bet, so I'll go to number 2. Like I love the Vikings, and I'm gonna ride the wheels of Sammy Darts until they fall off. I don't think they fall off here in London. One note about that game too: both teams left yesterday, so there's no advantage of a team going earlier to get it. Like they both left on the same day, so no advantage there. That's usually one thing you got to look into with these London games. I can't believe I'm going to do this with this man sitting to my left, but I hate it, but I love it. I like the Saints plus 5.5 against the Chiefs.
Woo!
The Chiefs are on a 10-game winning streak dating back to last year, but the average margin of victory is just 6.1 points per game. The average margin of victory this year is 5.3. Mahomes does not matter if they cover. All they care about is winning.
We're a money.
That is why every Sunday or Thursday or Monday, Huss goes to bed, puts his head down on his pillow, and he sleeps nice because all they do is win. They win, but they do not cover big spreads. Mahomes, as a favorite of a field goal or more, is actually only 39, 43, and 2 against the spread. They don't have Rashee Rice. They still don't have Pacheco. And this Saints defense is very much legitimate. The Saints are a covering machine this year at 3-1. They're 5-1 dating to back last year. And it is a bit concerning that through the first 2 games, New Orleans was able to average 45.5 points through the first and only 20.5 in the next 2 games. But defensively, they've only given up 84 yards per game on the ground, and they've only given up 1 touchdown through the air. There's not a lot of weakness when you look at this defense. So if you watch our socials, if you see that handsome guy over there, Jake Moss, he has screamed in your face that this is the year of the underdog. This is the year of the big underdog. So I'm going to roll this trend. I feel sick to my stomach that I am betting against Patrick Mahomes and riding with Derek Carr. But at 5.5, to me, this seems like the Chiefs win by a field goal or win by a weird number. Saints keep it close, but the wheels fall off at the end, and they win, but they don't cover.
We got Huss. Before I get to my pick, you have to respond here to Pat. The money line Chiefs. I see in the chat somebody said the Chiefs are going down this week. You think it gets that carried away? Okay, I don't know about that. But
good luck to all of you. If you'd like to jump on the Saints money line, I mean, I encourage you. They got to pay the bills somehow. I listen. It is true though. They have not been covering numbers. They play incredibly close games, and in some ways, I mean, I still think back to some of the comparisons of the Bombers. I mean, a team that can get up and get the football and run their 4-minute offense and get into the victory formation and shut it down. And if they're down, there's no one you'd want to have the football with 2 minutes left to come back than Patrick Mahomes. But more often than not, their defense has been so good that they're able to get it and shut it down right now. This game, the game is in Arrowhead, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was just saying, I mean, if you wanted a play for the Saints, I mean, in the dome, maybe. And listen, they're going to have to do it without Rashee Rice right now. That's going to put a lot more on Kelsey, a lot more on Xavier Worthy. Trying to find a fantasy line for who's going to be getting some of these other looks. Is it Justin Watson? Is it Noah Gray? But like come Monday night, I'll probably take the Chiefs just because. But I mean, even we've seen this. I mean, 10 wins in a row. None of them have been double-digit wins, but great teams find a way to win. They seem to be doing that consistently, and if they don't cover, not too big a deal from where I'm at. What's your favorite pick, Dusty?
Well, my favorite one was Minnesota minus 2.5. I said it like on Tuesday when the lines came out. I was just like, I don't understand this. Like with what you've seen from the Jets this year and what you've seen from the Vikings, I I don't know, I don't understand why it's just 2.5. I guess neutral site game, whatever. But I like Minnesota minus 2.5. So that was my best one. I'll move down to one of my other 3 plays here, and I'm gonna side with the Baltimore Ravens on the road, 2.5-point favorites going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals beat the Carolina Panthers. I don't want to take anything away from the Carolina Panthers, but when that's your only win and you still let Andy Dalton go off for 24 points, we saw what the Ravens just did to the Buffalo Bills. Joe Burrow's averaging like 215 passing yards a game so far this year. Like Joe Burrow's he hasn't been this monster just yet, whereas Josh Allen had been pretty damn good, and the Ravens look him make extremely ordinary. And then the big factor here on why I'm going to look at the Ravens, and I got an interesting note I saw on the Action Network about the total here as well. But Derrick Henry against a banged-up Bengals defensive line. Like, I think that could spell doom for the Bengals, not only in this game, but if they drop this game, they go to 1-4 in the year, and technically at that point, you're wondering if it's doomed for the season. So I think Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are going to run all over the Cincinnati Bengals. The note that I saw about the total, actually, it's moved to 49. I think this was at 50 a little bit earlier in the week, because this was a good note, I thought, from Action Network. Said, over the last 2 seasons, games with totals of 50-plus points have gone under 80% of the time, 16-4. So I don't know how many other games. What do we got? Any 50s on the board this week? There's a 49 and
a half in the Niners Cardinals.
Yeah, 49 and a half. So there's no 50 on the board this week. I think that other one might have opened at 50, but it's sitting at 49 right now. But I think Lamar and Derrick Henry are going to be able to dictate the pace of this entire game, and I'm not necessarily sold on the Bengals yet. So I'm going to take Baltimore Ravens minus 2.5 on the road.
Oh, hey, just while we throw it to Jake, a quick note coming out of yesterday's show. Speaking of 50-point over-unders, if you were looking for the CFL partner parlay, it is up in the exclusives. It's over 49.5. Bombers tie Cats tonight. BC minus 7.5. Edmonton plus 2.5. Got a nice number on that at plus 650. So if you were looking for it earlier, I think we forgot to send it in. It is up today. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. our time. So if you want to ride with the CFL Lock Shop Partner Parlay, that one is up as well. Jake, what's at the top of your list?
Yeah, plug your nose, boys, because, I like to bring the ugly ones. Browns plus 3. Actually, I looked at the number. 3.5 was actually minus 120. I might just take the hook since the number's not too bad.
Probably won't make a difference when they lose by 7.
Yeah, listen, Dusty. Like, this is not a team you want to be betting on right now. It makes absolutely no sense why I'd want to take the Browns against the Commanders team that has so much hope and promise. I think this is going to be the week, though. The Commanders are going to be a heavy public bet. People are going to love them off the way Jaden Daniels has been playing. And listen, I know it's ugly. I know it's stinky. But this is one of those games where it's like, oh my God, like the Browns are going to beat the Commanders. Like, what are we doing here? Like, but it's week to week. It's the NFL. It's any given Sunday. I don't have a lot of stats to back it up. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm just looking at where the public money's going. I've already seen a ton of tickets on the Commanders across, plenty of sports books. And it's one of those things where it's like a team at the lowest of lows right now in the Browns coming off that loss to the Raiders. And it's just like, where do they go from here? Commanders have all this hope. Everything's high right now. They're at home. I think this is one that the Browns can keep inside a field goal. So give me Browns plus 3.5 as probably the stinkiest bet of the weekend.
It's gross. It's disgusting. It's despicable. But in the history of the lock shop, Jakey has been the fisherman. He has always sniffed out the fishy, stinky lines.
He's the fish cleaner.
Yeah,
he opens them up, deals with it,
guts it out, and exactly, it's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it. So I respect it. I probably will not be riding with you, but I could see it.
All right, moving on. Second pick, and I was a little concerned with looking at the board because we know how badly favorites have done this year and how well underdogs have done. And I think of my 10-5-1 record, I'm 8-0-1 picking underdogs this year. I didn't see as many that I like this week. There is a team that we can call an underdog, even though they are a slight favorite. And that is the lone winless team in the NFL. Yes, your Jacksonville Jaguars, Dusty. This is the week for them. If they don't win, I think it's a loser leaves town match for Doug Paterson. I think if they lose what would be their 11th game in a row, I think they're done. Now, here's the good news for the Jags. They get the Colts coming in. Now, for the record, the Colts might be more dangerous with Joe Flacco at quarterback. I mean, just with the way that he can pass the football, I can tell you as a Michael Pittman owner, I feel a hell of a lot better about playing him if Joe Flacco's in than if Richardson's in. What's not good for the Colts, though, is that Jonathan Taylor's out. And that is a big blow to their offense. Now, listen, Jacksonville's done nothing this year. I mean, they've found ways to lose. They've looked good at times. They look terrible at other times. To me, Trevor Lawrence is way better than he's shown, or the investment, as Dusty likes to call him. And this is one of the lines that has moved. I bet it last night at 2.5. It's now moved to 3. You can get 2.5 at -130. I'm envisioning like a 2017 game here, like basically Jags by 3. So I really liked it at 2.5 and bet it. I like it less at 3 because I think this is going to be a close game. But divisional game, they know each other well. Indy's got some big injuries, and this is the season for the Jags. So I'm on the Jags for my second pick to cover the spread.
I don't know if you've seen Doug Peterson's at the point, no rah-rah speeches anymore. It's all about what's in this locker room while he proceeds to then say a rah-rah speech. I think it is. He's unloading the clip. This is a loser.
If he doesn't win this week at home against a division rival, they got to fire him. I mean, they have to fire him.
100%.
They have to.
Don't even let him back into the locker room. Just hand him his pink slip. See you never. I really liked the Colts earlier this week until you hear the actual diagnosis that Taylor's going to be out. Like I think it was Jake in our group chat on Sunday was just saying like Flacco time, and it doesn't matter what jersey that guy's wearing, man. Like the guy still's got it. That's the one thing that scares me about it. He is elite. Probably a stay away game for me because earlier on in the week I was thinking that I was going to take the Colts, but no Taylor, I can't do it. So yeah, this has to be the time for the Jags to win. So for my next best bet, I'm going to go to a total, and the unders have been working for me, and the ugly, stinky, gross unders, the low unders have been working for me. Broncos, Raiders, under 36. Under 36. This is a Big Ten total. Like, I wish I could get a number on how many punts are going to be in this game. This is going to be a disgusting game. The Broncos rank 31st in total plays of 10-plus yards. They're 5th last in points per game with 15.5 and 6th last in yards per game with 266. The Raiders, on the other hand, they're averaging under 20 points a game as well and are in the bottom 10 of yards per game. On the flip side, though, you want to talk about some positives here? Huss, you mentioned it. The Broncos defense is legit, like really, really impressive. They shut down the Buccaneers, like you mentioned, and they also, obviously, last week, I know the weather comes into play, but they made short work of that Jets offense. They rank 5th in defensive DVOA. And I mean, Patrick Surtain will have no problem, whoever he's going up against. Elite receivers, he locks them up. Whatever the Raiders are going to throw him that way, he'll have no problem with that as well. They're only giving up 13.8 points per game. That's 3rd best in the NFL. This is going to be a really, really low scoring, ugly, gross game. So that is one of my best bets, and I'm now just pulling up the touchdown scores. Let's see this here. I did it last week. It almost worked. It didn't, or a couple weeks ago. I'm going to take a little bit of a shot in the dark here. I'm going to take no touchdown scores, 33-1 in this game. No one finds the end zone in this game. Why not?
Classic 9-6. I respect that.
Yep.
No touchdown score. Beautiful. I mean, that game should be just a mess. I like the under on that one.
This one is the one that you bet it, and then you just put the notifications on, and you don't watch a minute of this game. If you do, you're going to gouge your eyes out because it's going to be gross, ugly football.
For my next play, I'm going against Jake, and I'm going with the Commanders, man. I'm going to continue to ride Jaden Daniels until he bucks me. I mean, and the Browns do pose different defense than what they've seen from the Cardinals and the Bengals and the Giants. But I mean, hang 42 on what I thought was a pretty decent Cardinals team. Jaden Daniels is an absolute stud. I would expect them to put up probably another 25 points at least. I'm not sure the Cleveland Browns offense can do that right now. Deshaun Watson, I was listening to a fantasy football podcast on like Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember who was on breaking it down, but they watched all the tape on Deshaun Watson and they just said he's awful. Like he's just absolutely horrendous right now. I know Nick Chubb's back to practice. There's no way he's going to play this week. I'd be stunned. I don't even know if he's been ruled out yet, but I know he was practicing this week. But I mean, the Commanders seem to be trending in the right direction. Kingsbury they're fun to watch. Like outside of the Detroit Lions, I think the team I want to sit down next most and watch on a regular basis is the Commanders. Brian Robinson Jr. has been outstanding so far this season. I think having Jaden Daniels in there has opened him up significantly. Daniels hasn't even been really running the ball like we thought he would outside of week one, and they ended up losing in week one. He's kind of getting out on the run and then looking down the field well and moving the ball. So I'm gonna ride with the Commanders here, -3 at home. Got to have a few head-to-heads this week, and I'll gladly go up against a guy who identified his own pick as stinky. So I'm gonna hop on that. I'm gonna ride with the Commanders, trying to go to. Imagine a Washington 4-1 start. Like what's the number on the money line with Washington? Like that's a real nice one that I throw in on -169. You put that with a couple other games, you get a pretty good number. I would think in a little 3-game parlay. So I am on the Commanders. I'm on Baltimore so far, and then I am with Huss on Minnesota -2.5. Jake, where are you going next? You better not come in and say the Jets right now. We're all going to lose it.
No, actually, I was going to say that after you all went Minnesota there. I was like, you know what? The fact that you all like Minnesota makes me think Jets, but that's not one of my picks.
That has happened way too often. For those of you out there that are thinking about a fade pick, keep that in mind, although I hope we win.
I will speed things up. I am on the Jags with Huss, so we don't have to get deep into that one. But I did add a stipulation for myself. I think it's only if Anthony Richardson starts. I'm very scared of Joe Flacco. I think he truly is elite, and he's been a great quarterback coming into these games. We were on the Colts last week, Huss, and that was when he came in. We're like, no way we're going to lose this battle. Flacco. So that is the one stipulation I've added for myself, but you can have it on my card there. Jags -2.5.
I love the back-to-back weeks on the Jags. You were with me last week on the investment.
Yeah, and we cashed. I actually had a decent week last week. I don't know if people will remember, but I was on the Bucks, I think, with Huss. They smoked the Eagles. I think I pushed on the Saints, I believe it was, and then we had the Jags and the Bengals. I had a solid week last week, so I'm hoping to kind of follow it up here. I'll go to this game we haven't talked about just yet. I'm on the Packers -3. And I think this is more of a fade Rams play for me than, a support of the Packers. I like Jordan Love. I think Jaden Reed is coming into his own really well. But this Rams rush defense has been awful. They're giving up the most rush yards per game to start the season. I think this is a game where Josh Jacobs can eat. I think Matt LaFleur, off a divisional loss, is a good spot for him to come into LA to a team that's so banged up in the Rams and just take care of business, pick up a win. I mean, Jordan Love doesn't have a win yet this season, guys. We got 2 Malik Willis wins for the Packers. So I think this is one of those spots. LaFleur takes care of business off a tough loss to a divisional opponent in the Vikings. And I think, if you look at the Rams this season, outside of their win over the 49ers, which they were down by 2 touchdowns in at one point, they lost by 31 to the Cardinals, lost by 6 to the Bears, and then 6 by Dusty's Lions, I think, in prime time. So they haven't necessarily been a team that you've been super impressed with. The injuries obviously don't help them. So I'm going to ride with the Pack here at -3.
All right. I'll fire off my last 2 just because we've had a little bit of a double up. I will be taking an underdog today. And it's going to be a team that's actually been good to me since their start. The Carolina Panthers, they're in Chicago to take on the Bears. I am still not convinced of the Bears offense. Now, do I expect them to get better? I mean, yeah. But I'll tell you what, this Carolina team, very competent offensively with Andy Dalton at quarterback. And listen, I know Thielen's out, but Mingo Leggett got into the end zone last week. I think he's getting a little bit more comfort with the guys. And of course, your Edmonton guy, Chuba Hubbard, has had some monster games so far this season. They're 4-point dogs on the road. I think this can be a close game. I could actually see them potentially winning as a plus 165 underdog. I'll definitely take the points with Carolina at plus 4. And then my final pick, and listen, of my 10-5-1 record, 3 of those 5 losses have been taking the big favorites. We had the Ravens and Cowboys in week 2 and had the Jets last week, who all disappointed and all lost outright. So keep that in mind when I tell you that there's no way I am not betting the Seattle Seahawks against the Giants in Seattle on the weekend. I got this at minus 6.5 right now. It's showing 7.
It just moved to 7 because it was at 6.5 like 30 minutes ago.
Well, exactly. And the thing is, the 6 still isn't juiced up. Like, it didn't go all the way to minus 130 like the Jags number did. It's at, let me just pull it up here. It's still minus 116 at 6.5. So I think that's, I mean, if you want it at 7, it's minus 104. So it's actually close to even money. 6.5 is at minus 116, which is sort of under the minus 120 threshold for picks on the program. Listen, the Giants are basically Malik neighbors. And it's neighbors, Devin Singletary a little bit, and that has been their offense. Wan'Dale Robinson on a bunch of checkdowns. He has been targeted more, neighbors for a rookie has been targeted more than any player in the National Football League this year by 9. Their entire offense is just trying to get him in. He's been in the concussion protocol all week.
He's out.
Okay,
yeah,
so now he's officially out.
I'm pretty sure I saw him ruled out this morning.
This number is probably going to get to 7.5 or 8 once that news out. And I'm not sure that Singletary's playing either. I have him on the bench in fantasy. So Carolina plus 4, Seattle minus 6.5, along with the Jags and the Vikings. Those are my 4 picks. And we'll run through the picks, then we can all fire out our TD score as I put these in.
Yeah, I'll speed up the process. Your Seahawks pick is mine as well. I think, and Dusty, you said it on Monday morning after that game against the Lions.
They held in there. They hung in there, man. Like, yeah,
they held in there. They couple of miscues here and there. That's a good team. That's a really good team. Their defense looks legit. If Kenneth Walker is healthy, like, this team is an absolute problem. And Geno Smith, man, another plus 300-yard passing game. I think that if you didn't get it at the 6.5, I feel sorry for you, but I would still probably bet it at 7, maybe even 7.5. This could be a blowout, but I'm glad I got it at 6.5, and let the record show I got it at 6.5, just in case if they only win by a touchdown.
My final pick, I don't want to jinx it for you, Patty, but I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills on the road in Houston, plus 1 against the Texans.
That's that game. That's a tough one. That's a real tough one.
It's a tough one. You might as well just go money line. It's plus 1. Their first 3 wins were by a combined total of 64 points. Like, the Bills were absolutely cruising. I don't know if I'm just going to sit there and watch what happened to them last week and all of a sudden be overly concerned about it. This is the key to this one. And I think Joe Mixon is out. I haven't seen an update just yet. Somebody in the Nasty Chat just said Markstrom just made the save of the year. It's the first game in the National
It's the first period of the first game.
That's pretty big.
Welcome back to hockey season.
But here's the thing. Buffalo, and Patty, you can back this on me. I looked at some of the stats, one of the sites that I look at. They're elite against the pass, but they've struggled against the run this year. And if Joe Mixon can't go, I think their defense is going to be just fine against CJ Stroud and the weapons that he has. I also like the motivation of the Bills in the Stephon Diggs game. So I think I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills +1. I'll have them on the money line as well. Be different story if the running game for the Texans was healthy. It is not. That's the area the Bills can be attacked in. I don't think they can be attacked very well through the air. So I'm going to side with Josh Allen on a bounce back game here against the Texans.
Yeah, Josh Allen 66-32 following a loss in his career. The guy just bounces back the majority of the time. So it's a stay away game for me, but you nailed it. You could not have laid it out any better. The only thing that scares me is the Stephon Diggs revenge game factor, but that might be actually a bad thing because I feel like they might be trying to get him the ball a little more often than they normally do. So stay away game for me, but you couldn't have said it any better out there.
Hey, Dusty, just before we get to it, so you have Washington, Minnesota, Buffalo. What was your other game?
Ravens -2.5 against Cincy.
Oh, ball. Okay, perfect.
And Rod Z says running back Joe Mixon ankle is not expected to suit up. So
good news.
Yeah, so that's good news for the Bills play. Boys, I have to tell you, let me just take a look at the list here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 8 different options for my touchdown score. I'm having a hard time deciding on one. So I wrote down 8. I'm assuming you guys might have 1 or 2 of them anyway. So let's do that. This is my favorite part of the week. House callers has become my favorite part of the week. Jake, Jake, you go first here with your touchdown score.
Sorry, before I didn't get my last pick in. I'll just say it.
I thought you did too. Okay.
Dusty, right in my face, head to head. I also am head to head with Dusty. I'm on the Bengals +2.5. I don't know if I got girlfriend brain with Joe Burrow. A divisional home dog, like hungriest dog out there. The defense has been so awful. I think this number should be higher than 2.5. I know they're at home, but the Bengals have shown us nothing to believe that they should only be 2.5 point underdogs against the Ravens team that has clearly come on, especially with that win over the Bills last week. So I'm also on the Bengals at +2.5. And I'm going head-to-head. Me and Dusty got 2 head-to-heads this week, so it's going to be an interesting show. We might be 4-man weaving on Monday.
No matter what happens, your touchdown score is going at the bottom of the rankings.
That's fine.
Keep it there.
If we're going to be at odds all season, Dusty, we might as well roll with the picks too.
All right, let's do it. Touchdown scores. Who do you got, buddy?
Yeah, listen, I talked about it in the Rams game. This guy hasn't found the end zone yet. I'm going Josh Jacobs. It's a little juicy. Last week, I went with a big number on the +175 and obviously choked it for the boys. So this one, I'm taking a juicy number, Josh Jacobs -161 against the Rams defense, who's been awful against the run this year, and a guy who's due for a touchdown.
You know what? I'm going to put it at the top of the list right now.
Great pick. Great pick. I had 2 guys. Josh Jacobs was one of them. I completely agree. I will be betting him or maybe putting him in because it is a little chalky. But again,
yeah,
all we are looking to do is not be the guy that blows the parlay right now. So if you're taking Josh Jacobs, I'm going to go to another running back, Kenneth Walker, in the Seattle game. Listen, as I say, I love Seattle in this game. Last week, because they were down so early, it was all Geno. He threw 56 times. I think we're going to see the opposite of that this week. I think that they should handle them. I think they'll be running the football a lot more. And I certainly think that they'll be giving it to him in and around the goal line. So mark me down for Kenneth Walker III for the house callers this week.
He was limited in practice today. Do you worry about that at all?
I feel like he's limited every week. He's always perennially.
I haven't seen a thing like he's trending towards out. I just want to note that he was limited in practice. But I love the pick. He's good. He's really good.
Patty?
Well, I had Walker as one of mine. I had Jaden Reed as mine, and I as another one, which I really like. Watson's out. There's more touches for him. The Rams play zone, and Reed's one of the best receivers this year at attacking the zone.
2 Packers,
but we already have 2 Packers is really tough. So again, all you got to do is get one, and this guy's got at least one, and if not more, in every game. I'm gonna go Derrick Henry. It's juicy as hell, but if it's staring me at the face, I got to take it. So I'm I'm going Derrick Henry. He's averaging a touchdown and a half so far this year. So give me King Henry.
Derrick Henry minus 200. He was the top guy on my list. I was like, I don't know if I can be that chalky. But you're right. What's the goal? Huss said the goal is to not be the guy who ends up not getting in. So
gotta win.
Look, it's a running back league. That's what we've seen. That's what's happened here. I like the fact that we're all in. With some guys I considered. Brian Thomas Jr. of the Jacksonville Jaguars plus 163. Don't mind him. Not going to go there. Trey Sermon, who's actually going to get the bulk of the carries with Jonathan Taylor out plus 120. I think the number had already kind of been adjusted. Not going to go there. CeeDee Lamb plus 100. Not going to go there. James Cook plus 110. I am going to continue to roll the hot hand of the local boy, Chuba Hubbard, at plus 110. Carolina beat Chicago. Huss, you said you like the Panthers. This is part of a play where I traded him this week in that spite league I'm trying to win. And I'm playing the guy that I traded him to, and I bet you he's going to absolutely torch me. So if he's going to do that, we might as well at least cash in on a huge parlay. So the power rankings will be as follows.
Here we go.
Number 1, Derrick Henry. I mean, minus 200. The guy's going to score a touchdown this week. Simple as that. Number 2 on the power rankings list this week, Josh Jacobs. Jake, are giving you the number 2
Let's
spot. The number 3 spot, I'm going to go with Chuba Hubbard. Number 4 spot, limited in practice, Kenneth Walker. Sorry, Huss.
Let's see
how it goes. Let's see how it plays out. Oh, man.
You talk about Chuba Hubbard. Sorry, go ahead, Jake.
No, I just got to say, I talked about it yesterday on the show. If you're seeing stuff online about guys who suck at football, bet them to have a good game the next game. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if these teams are watching the Twitterverse and seeing what the fans are saying. Kyle Pitts had a huge game yesterday after I said he was going to have a big game.
First play of the game, he went for like 30 yards.
Yeah, 31.
He's a great – yeah, he cashed his number in the first play. DeAndre Swift was the guy last week. If there's anybody that's having – Garrett Wilson, circle that name this week. I'm telling you. It's one of those guys where it's like where is he? Why isn't Rodgers passing him the ball? Don't be shocked if he goes.
Washes those Devontae Adams rumors and has a big game. Yeah, exactly. So what's coming up at Weekly Sports Talk, buddy?
Well, we got a big one. Bomber game tonight, obviously. We'll be talking Jets, final preseason game tonight. I will also send in a 3-game money line ride with Huss, trying to go 2 in a row. I'll finish that up. I'll probably drop that on WST, but I'll send it in. You can see it in the exclusives of the combo cards on the weekend. And I know Penner's Pancakes was wanting a quick blurb on WWE Bad Blood, which is happening tomorrow. Listen, CM Punk's a massive favorite. We won't touch that. Do like Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Don't really have a feel in the Priest-Finn Balor match, but it's minus 455. If you're looking for an actual underdog that could win, Rhea Ripley at plus 400 against Liv Morgan in the Women's World Championship. I mean, they're doing things to keep the belt on Liv, but at some point Rhea's going to get it back. Just not sure whether it's now, but I think that's where to go. But there is a couple neat specials. It is called Bad Blood. They're exclusive. They have both bleed minus 200. This is for the CM Punk Drew McIntyre. Only CM Punk bleeds plus 250. Only Drew plus 400. Neither bleeds plus 275. And another one, Jimmy Uso returns at minus 500. I think maybe the fun one, the other plus money that I jump on, maybe it'll be fun to watch. Tiffany Stratton cashes in the Money in the Bank briefcase plus 300. So if you're a wrestling fan, get on over. Bad Blood, it's there. But let's face it, it's all about Sunday and the National Football League. Let's keep it going, fellas.
Fun show, boys. I like the 4-man. This is good. Yeah, we might have to do
boys,
this.
I don't think we decided on a partner parlay for.
Oh no, we didn't.
So I don't know. I don't know if we want to quickly.
Vikings got to be on it.
For sure. Vikings
got to be on it.
Vikings. Huss and I were on the Jags. Do we want to go Jags?
I mean,
sure. Jags minus 2.5.
Of course. Yeah. Jags minus 2.5. Vikings minus 2.5.
Okay.
Who else are we on?
My other one was Saints with I don't think anyone had an inkling to ride there, and then my disgusting under either.
I don't think Huss would allow a. And
it's Monday too. We want this.
It's Monday. Yeah, we want it. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, do you guys like Seattle to cover by a touchdown?
Yeah. Huss and I are both on.
You guys are both on Seattle. Let's do Seattle. Take Seattle at 6.5.
That'll be interesting the way the dogs
is going to end well.
Year, but
yeah, there we go. There we go. That's the parlay. Vikings minus 2.5. The Seahawks minus 6.5. And who's the other one?
Jacksonville minus
2.5.
Don't forget, set your alarm early Sunday morning. We're in London for the first game. Right. Wake up, make a cup of tea, and enjoy the London football. It's going to be great.
All right, that's going to do it for the Lock Shop today. We got Oil Stream coming up right away on Edmonton Sports Talk here from South Fort Chevrolet. Winnipeg Sports Talk starting right away with us over on the WST channel as well. Enjoy football this weekend, boys. We'll talk on Monday.
Later.
See you, boys.